You just saw it. Your college buddy posted a photo of his new house. 3 bedrooms, 2-car garage, granite countertops. Meanwhile, you're sitting in your rented apartment eating ramen noodles for the 3rd time this week, and that question hits you like a freight train. Am I behind? Let me tell you something. I don't have a fancy name. I don't have a degree in finance. What I have is this. I spent my entire 30s working 2 jobs, sometimes 3, just to keep my head above water. I watched friends buy houses they couldn't afford. I watched them lease cars that cost more than I made in 6 months. And I watched them drown, slowly, painfully, while smiling for Instagram. So here's what I learned on Main Street, the lesson Wall Street will never teach you. You can't win a race you're not even supposed to be running. The comparison game is rigged from the start. You're comparing your bank account to someone else's highlight reel. You're comparing your reality to their performance. And every time you do it, you lose. Not because you don't have enough, because you're playing a game designed to make you feel like you'll never have enough. Now I want you to do something. Go to the comments right now and write down how much you think the average 30-year-old American has saved. Don't look it up. Just guess. I'll wait. You wrote a number? Good. Now forget it, because that number is a lie. The media loves to throw around statistics. They'll tell you the average 30-year-old has $50,000 saved, or $30,000, or whatever number makes you feel terrible about yourself. But here's the truth nobody wants to admit. Most of those surveys only count people who actually have savings accounts. They don't count the millions who have nothing. 0. Less than 0, because they're drowning in credit card debt. But let's say the number is real. Let's say the average 30-year-old really does have $45,000 saved. You know what? It still doesn't matter. Not even a little bit. Because comparing yourself to an average is like comparing your struggle to a ghost. You're racing against a number that doesn't buy groceries, doesn't pay rent, doesn't fix your car when the check engine light comes on at the worst possible time. The real problem isn't that you're behind some imaginary average. The real problem is what's happening to your money every single day. While you're too busy looking at what everyone else has, you're bleeding cash, and you don't even know where the wound is. I learned this lesson the hard way. At 32, I had $127 in my checking account. I was working overnight shifts at a warehouse and weekend shifts at a gas station. I was tired, I was angry, and I was broke. Not because I wasn't working hard enough, I was working myself to death. I was broke because every time I got paid, the money vanished. Car payment, insurance, rent in a neighborhood I chose because it looked good on paper, dinners out because I was too exhausted to cook, that gym membership I used twice, subscriptions I forgot I even had. I thought I was doing what I was supposed to do. I thought I was living a normal American life. I was keeping up appearances, making sure nobody knew I was one missed paycheck away from disaster. Turns out, normal is just another word for broke, and appearances are just another word for expensive lies. The American trap isn't about not making enough money. It's about spending every dollar you make trying to look like you make more. It's the car you financed because your coworker got a new one. It's the apartment in the trendy neighborhood because you didn't want to admit you couldn't afford it. It's every single purchase you made, not because you needed it, but because you needed to feel like you weren't falling behind. And here's the part that's going to hurt. While you're busy comparing, the people you're comparing yourself to are doing the exact same thing. They're broke too, they're just better at hiding it. That house your buddy posted? He's got a 30-year mortgage and $40,000 in credit card debt, but you'll never see that photo on Instagram. But you think that's the whole story? I haven't even started on the real trap yet. The one that's going to make you angrier than that Instagram post ever could, because the expensive lifestyle you're trying to maintain isn't just costing you money, it's costing you your 30s, and you can't get those back. Let me show you where your 30s went. Not all at once, that's not how it happens. It's the small cuts, the ones you don't even feel until you're bleeding out. You're 30 years old and you're driving a car that costs $450 a month. That's the payment. Then there's insurance, another $200. Gas, $150. Maintenance, $100. You do the math, that's $900 a month. That's $2,800 a year. In 3 years, that's $32,400. That's a down payment on a house. That's a year of living expenses if you lose your job. That's your entire emergency fund. Gone. Because you needed something reliable. Here's what reliable actually costs. A 5-year-old Honda Civic with 60,000 miles. $12,000. Cash. No monthly payment. Insurance drops to $120 a month because you only need liability. That same 3 years, you spent $32,400 on the new car. The used car cost you $12,000 plus $4,220 in insurance. That's $16,220 total. You just saved $16,080, not by making more money, by stopping the bleeding. But the car is just the beginning. Let's talk about where you live. You're paying $1,800 a month for a one-bedroom apartment because it's in the right neighborhood, the neighborhood where successful people live. Except you're not successful. You're broke, and that neighborhood is the reason why. I know a guy who owns a mechanic shop 2 blocks from where I used to live. Good man, works hard. He told me something that stuck with me. He said every week he sees someone in their 30s pull up in a brand new SUV, leather seats, all the features. They need an oil change. Basic maintenance, $80. And they ask if they can pay next week. They've got a $50,000 car and they can't afford $80 to take care of it. That's not just stupid. That's tragic, because that person is working 2 jobs to afford that car payment. They're missing time with their kids. They're exhausted. They're stressed, and for what? So they can sit in traffic in a car that makes them look successful while they're falling apart inside. You want to know what the expensive car in the driveway doesn't do? It doesn't impress the landlord when rent is late. It doesn't pay the medical bill when you get sick. It doesn't put food on the table when you're between jobs. All it does is make you a slave to the payment. And it's not just the car, it's everything. The $15 lunch you buy every day at work because you're too tired to pack something. That's $300 a month. That's $3,600 a year. The streaming services you forgot you're paying for. Netflix, Hulu, Disney+, HBO Max, Spotify Premium. That's $80 a month. That's $960 a year. The coffee on the way to work. $6 a day, 5 days a week. That's $120 a month. That's $440 a year. Add it all up. Just these small things. Lunch, subscriptions, coffee. That's $500 a month disappearing into nothing. That's $6,000 a year. In 3 years, that's $18,000. That's a year of rent. That's a reliable used car. That's your entire safety net. And you traded it for convenience. But here's what nobody tells you. The reason you're bleeding money isn't because you're bad with money. It's because your brain is wired to protect you from feeling left behind. Every time you see someone with something you don't have, your brain sends a signal. Danger. You're falling behind. You need to catch up. So you spend. Not because you need it. Because your brain thinks you need it to survive. That's the trap. And you've been in it your entire adult life. You think you're making choices. You're not. You're responding to fear. The fear of being left behind, the fear of looking broke, the fear of admitting that you can't afford the life everyone else seems to be living. But here's what I learned at 35 after 3 years of working myself to death. Everyone else is faking it too. That co-worker with the new truck, he's eating ramen for dinner. That friend with the nice apartment, she's got $15,000 in credit card debt. That couple that always goes on vacation, they haven't paid off their honeymoon from 4 years ago. You're not behind. You're just the only one honest enough to admit you're struggling, and that honesty is about to save your life. Because once you see where the money is going, you can't unsee it, and once you can't unsee it, you can stop it. But stopping it means doing something that's going to feel impossible at first. You want to know what changed everything for me? One word. No, not the polite no, not the maybe later no, the hard no. The no that makes people uncomfortable. The no that makes you look cheap. The no that saves your life. Let me show you what happens when you start saying no. Real numbers. No tricks. You say no to the new car. You buy that 5-year-old Honda instead. You save $16,080 over 3 years. That's real money. Money that's sitting in your account instead of disappearing into a loan. You say no to the expensive apartment. You move to a place that's $400 less per month. Nobody cares where you live except you. That's $4,800 a year. Over 3 years, that's $14,400. Add that to the car savings. You're at $30,280 now. You say no to eating out for lunch every day. You pack a sandwich, you save $300 a month. That's $3,600 a year. 3 years, that's $10,800. You're at $41,280 now. You say no to the coffee every morning. You make it at home. You save $120 a month. That's $1,440 a year. 3 years, that's $4,320. You're at $45,600 now. You say no to streaming services you don't watch. You keep one. You cancel the rest. You save $60 a month. That's $720 a year. 3 years, that's $2,160. You're at $47,160 now. Let me say that again. $47,160 in 3 years by saying no. Not by getting a raise, not by winning the lottery, not by some complicated investment strategy, by stopping the bleeding. That's not theory, that's math, simple math. The kind you can do in your head while you're sitting in your cheaper apartment, drinking your homemade coffee, eating your packed lunch, driving your paid-off car. I know a guy, Tom, 31 years old, lives in Michigan. He was exactly where you are. Car payment, expensive rent, eating out every day. Broke, stressed, working 2 jobs and going nowhere. Then he got mad, really mad, mad enough to do something about it. He sold the financed truck, bought a used sedan for $10,000 cash, moved in with a roommate, started packing lunch, quit pretending. In 18 months, Tom had $25,000 in his savings account, not $2,500, $25,000. He called me crying, not because he was sad, because for the first time in his adult life, he could breathe. You want to know what else Tom has now? Options. His boss treats him badly, he can quit. His car breaks down, he can fix it. Medical emergency, he can handle it. That's what $25,000 buys you, not stuff, peace. But let me tell you what's going to happen when you start doing this. Your family is going to ask questions. Why are you driving that old car? When are you going to get a nicer place? Why don't you ever want to go out anymore? And you're going to feel the pressure to explain yourself, the pressure to justify why you're not keeping up. Here's what you tell them. Nothing. You don't owe anyone an explanation for taking control of your own life. You don't owe anyone a performance. You don't owe anyone the privilege of watching you struggle so they feel better about their own choices. The grocery store. That's where you win this too. Not by eating less, by buying smart. Store brand instead of name brand. Chicken thighs instead of breasts. Rice and beans instead of takeout. You can feed yourself for $200 a month if you stop buying convenience and start buying food. Most people spend $400. Cut that in half. That's $200 a month saved. That's $2,400 a year. Over 3 years, that's $7,200. Gas, you win there too. Combine trips. Don't drive across town to save $2 on something. Your time and gas cost more than the savings. Plan your week. 1 grocery trip, 1 errand day. You'll cut your gas bill by $50 a month easy. That's $600 a year. 3 years, that's $1,800. Now you're at $56,760 total, saved over 3 years, and you haven't finished yet. At 30, you're not behind. You're exactly where you choose to be tomorrow. That's the truth nobody wants to hear, because it means everything up until now was a choice. And that hurts, it should hurt, because pain is the only thing that creates change. But here's what happens after the pain. After you've said no for 6 months, after you've watched your savings account grow, after you've realized that the stuff you gave up didn't make you happy anyway, you start sleeping better. You stop checking your bank account with fear. You stop counting days until payday. That's what peace of mind costs. Saying no to everything that doesn't matter, so you can say yes to the one thing that does, your future. Now here's exactly what you do next. Here's what this was really about. Not money, time. Every dollar you waste is time you'll never get back. Time away from your kids. Time stuck in a job you hate because you can't afford to leave. Time worrying about the next bill instead of living your life. That's what those car payments cost. That's what the expensive apartment costs. That's what trying to keep up costs. I worked 2 jobs in my 30s. I missed birthdays. I missed dinners. I missed life. And for what? So I could afford a truck that made me look successful while I was dying inside. That's not success. That's slavery with leather seats. Let me show you 2 futures. Both are real. Both are possible. You choose. Future 1. You keep doing what you're doing. You keep the car payment. You keep the expensive rent. You keep eating out. You keep pretending. At 40, you're still broke, still stressed, still one emergency away from disaster. You've worked for 10 more years, and you have nothing to show for it except more debt and less time. Your kids barely know you, because you're always working. Your health is falling apart because you can't afford to slow down. And that retirement everyone talks about? That's a joke. You'll be working until you die. Future 2. You stop today. You sell the car. You move to the cheaper place. You pack your lunch. You stop pretending. It's uncomfortable for 6 months. Your friends don't understand. Your family asks questions. But then something happens. Your savings account hits $10,000, then $20,000, then $30,000. At 40, you have $100,000 saved. You own your car. You have no debt. Your boss disrespects you? You walk out. Medical emergency? You handle it. You sleep through the night. You're home for dinner. You're not rich, but you're free. And freedom is worth more than any car, any apartment, any status symbol ever made. The difference between those futures is what you do in the next 90 days. Not 90 months. 90 days. Month 1. Track everything. Every coffee, every lunch, every subscription, every dollar. Write it down. All of it. This is going to hurt. You're going to see where your money actually goes. You're going to feel sick. Good. That sickness is going to save your life. Month 2. Cut the bleeding. Cancel the subscriptions you don't use. Stop eating out. Start packing lunch. Look at that car payment. Look at that rent. Make the hard decisions. This is where most people quit. Because it's uncomfortable. Because people notice. Because you have to admit you can't afford the life you've been pretending to live. Do it anyway. Month 3. Start the emergency fund. $500 to start. Just $500. Put it in a separate savings account. Don't touch it. Then add to it. Every extra dollar goes there. By the end of the month, you should have $1,000. That's your foundation. That's your buffer. That's the beginning of your freedom. Those 90 days will change everything. Not because you'll be rich, because you'll have proven to yourself that you can control this, that you're not a victim, that every dollar in your account is a choice you made, and once you know that, nobody can take it from you. People will call you cheap. Let them. People will say you're no fun anymore. Let them. People will ask why you're being so extreme. Tell them you're being extreme because normal is broke. Normal is stressed. Normal is working until you die with nothing to show for it. You're not trying to be normal. You're trying to be free. Here's what I need from you. If you made it this far, you didn't waste your time. You're serious, so prove it. Go to the comments right now and write this exactly. I will not waste. 3 words. That's your contract. Not with me. With yourself. With your future. With the life you're going to have instead of the life you're settling for. Make it public, make it real. Because saying it out loud is the first step. And the first step is the only one that matters. At 30, you still have 3 decades of work ahead of you. 3 decades to build something. Or 3 decades to stay broke. The choice is yours. It always was. You just didn't know it until now. Now you know. So here's what you do. You close this video. You open your bank account. You look at that balance and you decide right now, today, are you going to keep bleeding or are you going to stop the wound? I can't make that choice for you. Nobody can. But I can tell you this. 3 years from now, you're going to wish you started today. So start today. Now get off your phone. Go check your subscriptions. Cancel the ones you don't use. That's step 1. Do it right now, not tomorrow, now. Because tomorrow is how you got here, and now is how you get out.